Donald Trump has a project to build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico. No. Of course, one of the big themes in the world now is refugees and being able to protect yourself against the people who are coming into your territory. So this was an ancient Greek play about territory, about what the birds supposedly own, which is the sky. So one of these characters is trying to convince the birds to charge money when gods come down through the air, or when smoke from the human sacrificial fires to the gods comes through, again, their area. And they never thought of that. They're like, oh, they shouldn't just come in for free. And I know that's a bit of an issue here in Denmark, charging people to get in. And it is worldwide as well, so it makes us question some of the most basic things about who we are. Are you responsible for those people or not? Should you help them or not? Or is it just not your problem? So, these are really big questions about responsibility and ownership and all sorts of things that I think are very challenging to everyone, and it's really, you think the world is, getting more and more homogenous, and to some extent it is, but it's also, it seems like people are even more intolerant of people who are different, even a little bit different. Animals are sometimes good metaphors for people, sometimes not. Aesop's fables were built on kind of moral fables that featured animals, so that makes it a little bit easier for you to see your own foibles, if it's a fox doing it or a donkey or something. So I like little moral tales like that, but I also don't like it when animals wear clothes and try to be, we're pretty different from animals. We're really different from animals. So it's just a playful sort of metaphor. It's not meant to be. Now, on the other hand, I have done a lot of concerts for dogs, and I consider them very good audiences. Because, particularly for improv, because dogs come to concerts with no expectations. And humans do. They come, okay, I'm at a jazz show. I'm looking for jazz. And if it suddenly isn't jazz, or suddenly turns into blues or something classical halfway through, they're like, wait, they didn't get what was advertised. So they're upset. They don't like to change their idea about what it is, because they come in with an idea and they want the music to conform to it. I'm at a classical show, I want it to be classical. You're like, well, why does it have to be something? Maybe you just read the ad wrong, just listen to what it is. And dogs are exquisite listeners. They're in the moment, that's the main thing. They're not comparing and expecting. I realized that most audiences make up their mind within the first couple of minutes what kind of show they're at. And if they think it's a comedy and it gets darker in about 10 minutes, they're upset because they had it pegged as a comedy and it's not, fulfilling their expectations. So it's a little bit of an insult to them in a way. They're not like ready to kind of go along with how it might unfurl. So that makes culture kind of dreary occupation, just fulfilling the expectations of the audience like any other product, shoes or cakes or whatever. So you can't play with how things might change and morph in front of you. So No, doesn't make me want to just play for dogs. I mean, they don't really understand that much what you're saying, so I prefer a human audience, really. Right now, I'm someone who wants to be able to tell a really good story. Stories interest me most at the moment, and so, and also the map between the real and the unreal. So virtual reality is something that I'm spending a lot of time with now, and mapping real places and cueing people to believe that they're in one place, and then they look down and they're in the same chair that they were in before they put the goggles on, but then they look down and their body isn't there, just the chair. But they can feel the chair with their arms, they can feel they're sitting on the chair, they can feel the floor, but they're not there. Now, disembodiment is something that really appeals to me because in a way there's something that feels very familiar about this experience of not being there, because I think a lot of people feel that they are the one who sees things rather than the one who is seen. That's why someone takes your picture and you're sitting there doing something and you're going, oh no, that's not me. That's not really how I feel about me. You know, it's like I'm the one who sees and thinks and remembers, and so this stuff that you drag around with you, it's just what you happen to have to drag around. You're not so aware of how it looks unless you're like, I don't know, a soccer player or a fashion model or something where you are very, very aware of your body. Many people forget they have one. And so in VR, you really can disembody, and it's very exciting and very real. And so, so I guess I'm interested in the way that real and unreal intersect, I have to say, just to make it sound very pompous. I like VR. Technology is a way for people to extend their dream life, because they can, in that world, fly, have another sort of kind of complete world of communication, and they're not necessarily where they are. People are having very intimate conversations in public on their phone. You know, they're in another place. If you're having a phone conversation when you drive, it's the equivalent of being drunk, by the way. Is that you're not really aware of where you are, so that on the other hand, if you're having a conversation with your passenger, it has nothing to do, you know, it's not like you're drunk at all, because you're just in the same, you both see the 10-ton truck that's coming towards you. The person on the phone is not in your world, in another mental world, a zone where you're connecting, and that is a sleep zone, a dream zone, a so-called unreal zone. But I just was looking today at a company called Unreal, and they have invented a bus that you get into, and you're going about 30 miles down the road, and it's a VR thing with no goggles. So you're looking out the windows, and then the windows become slowly screens, and every turn the bus makes and bump that goes across is the one that's mapped to Mars. So you look out the window and you're on Mars. You're on Mars and you're driving around through Mars, through just different canyons, and you look up, you look down, the whole thing is there. It's really fantastic. So it's the bus to Mars, which is of course a kind of dream. But it's a dream that you can have when you're reading a book too. You're reading a book, and you're reading a book about Mars, and you're in mental Mars. We all have the power to do that. So it's not the technology itself, it's our minds. It's our dreaming minds that can jump out and go anywhere. at any time. And a highly trained one can understand that we're actually even not here in this room doing this video. It's not actually happening. I should have maybe mentioned that a little bit before we started, but I don't actually believe I am here.
To sleep. To sleep. I sink into sleep, where there are no demands on me. Just to stay on the other side of consciousness. The dark side. Where nothing has a name. A place where I myself have no name.